everyone, it's me, Sin Munoz. Welcome to Lowkey Unhinged podcast, a personal guide to all things pop culture. I'm catching up with you every week on our favorite shows and hot takes with some of our favorite unhinged people. Tune in every week wherever you stream your podcast and follow Lowkey Unhinged on all social platforms. See you next time. Ciao. And welcome back. We are episode 2 of Happily Ever After. So episode 2, we start off with Gino and Jasmine. Now, this is a very fraudulent relationship. It is so awkward and just really not working. So I'm pretty sure everyone's kind of on board with this. I've read it on Reddit, and everyone kind of stands by the same idea that she is likely an actress. It just is so unfathomable that this is real. Very cringy, been cringy. They start this episode off with Natalie asking Gino when the last time was that he was intimate with Jasmine, to which he replies that he can't remember and that it was either before or after their marriage, and he just could not remember. That's a lie. So you clearly would remember of whether or not you consummated the marriage, but he kind of sticks to that. She's pretty shocked by it. She tells him, don't be ashamed of that. It's just kind of unexpected of an answer. But I think Gino definitely knows the answer to that. But regardless, doesn't really get into the nitty gritty of why there was such a lack of intimacy in that relationship. He just keeps telling her how much it's turning him on when she asks those kind of questions. And, well, everybody, let's be real. It was gross. We all want to barf, essentially. It's just not natural between them. And so when he's saying these things, it just doesn't really add up. And I don't know why they opened up the episode 2 with these two, but they did. So she continues to ask him questions about that. She tells him she's been immediately attracted to him. Another lie. She keeps calling him adorable, and I guess that's a nice way to put things. Then they start going back to the room, and this is even more awkward. So they go back to Gino's room, and they decide they're going to have a couple brewskis. And for some odd reason, they decide that they're going to actually just lick the bottle. So never seen that before. Never seen anyone do that before. Never done that before. Don't think it's a thing. I think it's their thing. So it was super weird, but that kind of just aligns with this whole storyline that they have going on. And it was just so staged and let's keep it moving. Like, I don't know what 90 Day is doing with this couple, but it just really wasn't believable. It's just pretty ridiculous and seems like a forced storyline, but nonetheless, they continue to have this conversation of, moving things forward. And she finally gives him an ultimatum and lets him know that in order for them to continue seeing each other, for things to move in a meaningful direction, he would need to talk to Jasmine, and he would need to let Jasmine know that she's in the picture. So there's that. Next, we have Noga, or as Andrei famously put it, Doga. So we swing back to Doga. They pick up where they left off, in which she's losing her mind, not speaking in complete sentences anymore, freaking out. So a big mess of a housewarming party. Loren is extremely confused as to how that even transpired, how things got so escalated, why Andrei was so upset. But at the end of the day, although his reaction was extreme and over the top, but that's his personality, they really, I think, crossed a line by inserting themselves, by getting into this debate over how this is the wrong move. It's not their family. It's not their move. It's really up to Libby to kind of say those things. And so I think they really just opened up Pandora's box by going there. And speaking of Andrei and Libby, they kind of have their own little one-on-one as to what went so wrong with that party. So Andrei keeps harping about the fact that Loren was making such a big deal about the mother bear thing and how she was so crazy for making that such a point. And Libby actually stands up for her, and rightfully so. She says that, hey, yeah, if a mother is unhappy and she's not thriving, it's going to trickle down and it's going to affect the entire family. So it is important that the mom is thriving. And so although he's so resistant to this idea, I think that Libby is sort of the only person that can possibly, even the smallest amount, get to him and help him understand a normal human behavior, that, yeah, the mom needs to be in a good place. You can't pick up and leave, move mom across the world to a place where she doesn't speak the language, she has no family, no friends, everything's so foreign, and expect for her to thrive. I mean, some people do that. And when it's a choice that they want to, there's definitely an opportunity for them to thrive in those environments. But being that Libby is very hesitant to go, it could be very problematic. So I think that Libby did a good job at, speaking up and sort of defending herself with Andrei, because he is not an easy person to have that kind of conversation with. I guess we'll see what happens from there. Moving on from Andrei and Libby, Darcey and Georgi. So I think that this was probably the most impactful moment of the entire episode. And it was the locktoe, ladies and gentlemen. It was the locktoe. Never seen anything like this, never heard of anything like this. For those of you that have gone through menopause or that have experienced this, would love to hear more about it. I didn't know it was a thing. So they harp on the fact that this was a menopausal symptom and that this is what happens. It was so weird, but very funny to watch. On Reddit, people were making the comment, these women, they spend so much on their surgeries, their hair, their makeup, their elaborate wardrobe, and yet their toes are looking a little crazy. And you know what? As much as I love Darcey and Stacey, I'm going to have to agree. These feet were looking a little worse for the wear. I think that sometimes it's okay to wear tennis shoes. These poor feet just looked so banged up, and really that they had gone through war is what they kind of look like. And so the locktoe did not help that. But there's, bruising and redness and scabs or whatever was going on. It was just so funny that this was all happening. And Florian gets involved and they're asking for help. And with this locktoe situation, Florian is like, what is going on? One toe's going one way, the other toe's going another way. And it really was very crazy. But per Darcey and Stacey, such a funny scene, so lighthearted. And that's one of the reasons why I love them so much. They just know how to laugh at themselves. They are so over the top. They dress to the nines. They spend all this money investing into their looks, their appearances. And yet they know how to just keep things real. And I guess when you get locktoe, you get locktoe. And they weren't afraid to film it. So that was a pretty funny scene. I'm a big fan of theirs. But we move on from the locktoe and we go to the ladies' 50th birthday party. Now, some would say they look great for their age. Some would say they look not great for their age. I think they look pretty good. I really, truly believe they were so beautiful before all the surgeries. Don't love the amount of work that they've had done, but I just find them so endearing that, they're doing their best. They're trying. And I think for 50, they're thriving. And I think that they have such a youthful, energetic personality, and that keeps them young. On top of the surgeries, of course. But yeah, so we see their party. And of course, it's such a Miami party. Their guests were a little bit surgerized as well, a little bit over the top, a lot of fillers and Botox going on here. Not shocking for Miami though, it's pretty on brand, but I'm glad that we got to see Darcey and Stacey. Not a surprise, usually when one of them's on the show, the other one always ends up coming, and it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal with these ladies, and yeah, I love them. We got to see their party getting put together, them getting ready, them preparing, and the party was cool. It was great. But Georgi, don't love his whole aura during this episode. I really did used to like Georgi so much. I think he really just, was misunderstood. There was a language barrier, cultural differences. He just maybe wasn't able to express himself in the way that I think he wanted to in the past. But this was a really terrible look for him. This was a very, I mean, everyone throws around the word narcissistic, but very kind of narcissistic type of behavior, I would say. Things were kind of just about him. His priority was about how he looked, and oh gosh, the deep V-neck. I don't know why he's wearing these blouses with the V-neck down to his navel. It's so, I mean, even for Miami, it really is cringy, but he decides he's going to wear that. He's got his diamond rosary, which again, over the top, just, I mean, I don't think I've ever even seen a man wear diamond rosary, which is fine. You want to wear it, you want to rock it, that's your thing, that's fine. It's really the gaudiness of it all that's just so gross. But beyond that, this guy dresses to the nines, spends all this time getting ready, and what does he forget? The most important piece of item he needed to have remembered, his ring. This guy forgets his wedding ring. How do you think that's going to make your wife feel that you get dressed up, dressed to impress, right? Go to your wife's 50th birthday party. It's this huge deal for her. And you forget your wedding ring. And she didn't like that. And she let him know she didn't like that. She made it a point to tell him. And he kind of just brushed it off. It was weird. It was kind of uneasy. I really don't know why he would have forgotten that. He said he was in a rush. I think that was probably the first thing he should have put on. But, you know, not a good look for Georgi. Not a good look for him. It was pretty disappointing. I think I'm starting to see what other people have been seeing in him, and yeah, not a big fan. But we move on, and the next storyline with these two are the fact that she's going to finally meet Georgi's family, which is huge. She's never met them before. Obviously, that's weird. They're married. They've been together for a while, but she's going to meet them for the first time. So she's going to go to Bulgaria. She's going to meet the whole clan, and he is very, very adamant that she is going to need to change her look. And so in changing her look, she's going to have to dress down. She's going to have to stop being over the top, stop dressing flashy, but more than that, stop showing so much skin. Okay, well, that's not Darcey, so that's going to be a problem. She is not understanding. And he does his best to explain, but she is just, it's kind of in one ear and out the other, I think. But he has his friend, we see the friend's wife explain to her what that looks like. And, you know, this friend, she's Persian, really beautiful person, and that she recently was in Bulgaria meeting her husband's family, and that it was intense and they're judging you. I think that here in the US, we're so used to having, you know, the ability to express ourselves in however we want. And if anyone kind of stifles that, we get a bit defensive. You know, we don't like that. We want to express ourselves. And sometimes people's wardrobe is a way to express themselves. However, when you are going to a different country and the culture is so different and the dress culture is different, I mean, there are countries where if you're showing skin, you're going to prison, or even worse, you might be killed for that. I think you have no choice but to respect those cultures. And so as much as I understand Darcey wants to be herself, I think it's so foolish to not comprehend the fact that this is a very serious thing. You don't want to go to this country that is very apparently conservative in the way that they dress and not follow those same guidelines. It's a foolish thing to do. I think you're really opening a door to a problem, not just with Georgi and his family, but really just with, who knows, any person on the street. They might not like what they see, to which he kind of said that, but unfortunately he uses a very derogatory word to express that. Again, I think that that was his way of trying to express what I just said, but because he's not able to communicate properly, he uses a put down and a derogatory word. It was rude. I didn't like it. It's hard to say, did he mean it that way? Did he not? Some people would say yes. I mean, you can give your opinion. I don't think it's like that, but I really, truly did not like the way that he put it. I think that there was a different way he could have said it, but that's Georgi. So moving on, we have Adnan and Tigerlily. Now, they were not in the last episode. They are now in episode 2. They're okay. I mean, it's an interesting storyline, but also, like, Adnan, he's so, pretentious, obnoxious. I don't think a lot of people really like Adnan. I'm not really sure why Tigerlily is with him. There's a huge age gap. They're about 20 years apart. And I truly think that Tigerlily could have probably done better. I don't really know why. They kind of recap how they met, and she married him the day that she met him in person. So that's insane, but okay, well, I guess it's 90 days, so can't really expect them not to be insane. But we see them again, so haven't seen them since the last season that they were on. And they start the scene off with Adnan yelling at her, and he's sort of kind of threatening her to, quote unquote, say it again when she questions whether she trusts him or not. It's aggressive. It was uneasy. Obviously, we don't know the backstory to what's going on. There is definitely no way that there's a excuse as to why he's talking to her like this. She's not an aggressive person, regardless if you like Tigerlily or not. She's really not aggressive. She's not abrasive. And I just thought it was so disrespectful, and we know she's pregnant, so why would he be talking to her like that? But hey, he's a 20-something-year-old child. He can't control himself. He can't control his temper. So being that he's an immature person, I guess this would track. We see that she's about 6 months pregnant here, and they're renovating a log cabin in Texas. Did not imagine either of them wanting to live in a log cabin. Kind of see them more of a penthouse suite type of couple, or maybe a giant mansion. It is so weird and strange that they decided on a log cabin. I'm not really sure why, but a log cabin nonetheless. Tigerlily has her friends, her two little buddies, her sidekicks, and she shows them that she's preparing for Adnan's arrival, and she shows them the toilet. This $20,000 toilet. For some reason, she decided that that was going to be a important investment into this log cabin. Now, why you would have a log cabin in the middle of what looks like nowhere really, that's completely undone, but you get these $20,000 toilets? I mean, these people just do not seem to know how to budget very well or allocate their finances to a better use. So $20,000 toilet nonetheless. Now, this was a funny scene. She's showing them how to use the toilet, sprays out, gets her friend in the face. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I have also done the same thing. We had a bidet where we were staying. Turned it on, got my little cousin in the face. You know, he was fair game. He said he wanted to see. I tried to turn it on. If you don't know how to use these things, it really just kind of sprays everywhere. It's weird. It's a very European thing. Lots of people in other countries, they use bidets very regularly. I guess it's a thing to have. I never really got used to it, but hey, look, they have a $20,000 toilet with a bidet. It warms up the whole shebang. I guess some people are really for it. So they move on. She goes and picks Adnan up from the airport. Oh gosh, with her poor feet in these really funky black heels that are probably thousands of dollars, but they were so unfortunate looking. They're terrible. And her poor feet. Between her feet and Darcey's lock toe, I'm not really sure which one's worse, but they both look like they were struggling. I can't even imagine. These women, you know, bless their little hearts, but they just hate a pair of tennis shoes. They cannot stand wearing tennis shoes. I just can't imagine wearing something like that. But, you know, she goes in her funky heels, gets him from the airport, and of course, true to Adnan fashion, throws a huge fit about driving her Lambo. Now, this guy has never been to the U.S. He's never driven in the U.S. He's never been to Texas, and he's never even seen a storm. And he decides that it is so embarrassing for his pregnant wife to possibly drive him in her own car, that's her Lambo, that he has to. He has the most fragile masculinity and ego I have ever seen on a person. I can't even believe how insecure he must be to have thrown such a fit. He literally puts her in harm's way, the baby as well. Such a dangerous situation, all for his ego. And I couldn't believe it. And really, it was so disappointing to see Tigerlily allow this to happen. It was Really, really unnerving. It made me dislike Adnan even more. He's so obnoxious. He genuinely doesn't even know how to drive. He's a horrible driver. He refused to be passenger princess. And because of it, they're all possibly going to die in a car accident. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so they make it home safe, thank God. And she introduces him to the log cabin. The show, the producers, they kind of prelude like Adnan is about to lose it, freak out over the log cabin. But he says he loves it. Truly loves it. It's weird. It's so weird. I don't know why they love it, but they love it. It's not a great looking cabin, but hey, We also see that in this episode, Adnan is harping on Tigerlily converting to Islam. How important it is for her to be Muslim, the mother of his baby, the baby has to be Muslim. And Tigerlily makes this comment that she wants to stay the Christian that she is, which props to her, but that she agrees that she believes that the baby's religion should be the father's religion. Why does it have to be whatever the father's religion is? It's just so strange. But he's harping on that. She mentions that she has not seen this side to him before. Tigerlily, let's be real here. Are we shocked? Are we surprised? I don't think so. Adnan is so the type to do that bait and switch. Oh, it's fine. You can be Christian. Okay, Adnan, relax. It's just so absurd. But hey, she married him, right? What can we say? Next, we move on to Kara and Guillermo, which, again, as I mentioned last episode, so excited to see these two, and then so bummed to see the state that they're in. They are not doing well. It is a really big bummer. It's real and it's raw, and I think it's important to show what that looks like. And it is a married couple, newer married couple, dealing with cultural differences and a new baby and in a new country and in a house, and there's just so much going on, and I think that that's just a really realistic view for the audience, right? Because it's relatable. Kara shares that she is, a person of many trades, which I think is awesome. She's clearly a boss lady. One of those avenues that she's exploring is her singing career. So she mentions that she's been a singer. I don't remember knowing this about her. I don't remember if they've touched on that before, but she's a singer nonetheless, and we kind of see a little bit of that. And she's cute. She's great. Pretty voice. She has the look. She's gorgeous. Kara's so beautiful. And she mentions that she is a bachata singer. For those of you that don't know what bachata is, it is a Latin genre of music. I really did not guess that Kara would be singing bachata, but good for her. I was pretty impressed that was the genre that she seemed to be so passionate about. We hear her singing. Beautiful voice. She's kind of got that stage present. But I gotta be honest, the accent, the heavy American accent, when she says the word bachata, it's so weird. She is so fluent in Spanish and she speaks so well and fluently. And then she has these words that she picks and she does such a heavy American accent. And I think that if you're going to pick a Latin genre that you're going to follow your dreams on and you're going to focus on and you're solely singing in this language, you really got to nail down those accents. And so hearing the word bachata pronounces bachata, it was so... I don't know. There's room for improvement there. So, I think if she can lock down the accent, she's going to crush it. But we see that that's her passion. That's what she's leaning into. And Guillermo is really not for it. He does not like it. It's interesting. He kind of preludes the crowd. He's focusing on the crowd. Says he likes her music enough, which he doesn't really say he loves it, but enough, I guess. But it's the crowd that he has a problem with. And I thought that was such a strange focus point for him, that it's the crowd that's bothering him, but the crowd is what he says is the problem. So I started kind of thinking, okay, well, I guess, who knows, maybe there's these men and they're possibly, aggressively, hitting on her or something. There's a lot of partying going on. It just sounded kind of strange because as an artist, you can perform in these types of venues. You can even have maybe these types of men in your crowd or this kind of party scene. And you don't have to involve yourself in that as the artist, but it sounded a little ominous. And I think that as this season goes on, we're going to see, she might be involved in the partying scene a little bit more than she possibly needs to be. So he kind of lays that out. Speaking of which, I'm a big fan of Reddit. I love following the 90-day subreddit there. And when we started seeing that she is singing bachata, she's doing this musical career, I was pretty taken back to see that she was featured as a video vixen for the 90-day Bad Boys. Now, Cara, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's talented. But what was she thinking? What was she possibly thinking? I looked at the followers. I was thinking, okay, maybe she did this so she can kind of open up her audience, get more followers, tap into a different group of followers that these men have, these 90-day bad boys, 90-day douchebags. And she has more followers than each of them. I looked at Jamal. I looked at Josh's. I looked at all of their followers, and no, she has more followers, which I was surprised by. I really was surprised by that, but she has more followers than them. So why would you lower yourself and be featured as the video vixen with these, oh God, these guys, they're so cringy. They really just, they need to grow up. They need to get it together. This whole single bad boy thing is just, I get it. Some men just never want to grow up. They want to be the party boy, the single guy. They find an appeal to that. And I guess really, truly to each their own, but it's just gross. Honestly, it's just sad. I mean, come on, guys. You guys are like close to 40, or Josh is over 40, obviously. It's just, yeah, it wasn't hitting for me. And seeing her in their video, I just really felt bad. I felt bad for Cara. I felt bad for Guillermo. I mean, she's pretty seductive in the video with the men. And, she's playing a video vixen. It's not real life. But I just felt like as a mom and as a wife, and Guillermo's already having these hang-ups, that was just not the right angle to go. Who knows? There's speculation that maybe they're not together anymore. I get it. Let's just even say they're not together and she does it. I just still think it was beneath her, but you guys can just watch it for yourself. It's on their platforms, their social medias, on Josh's 90-day Bad Boys. I guess I'm promoting them, but yeah, it's gross. Regardless, that's where they're at. Now we see in this episode that Cara's just like breaking down so much. She says that she's just so hurt. She can't get past that comment that he had made in therapy. You really don't know until you're in that person's shoes, right? You don't know how you're going to cope with something like that. But I think that as hurtful as it was, people make mistakes. And Guillermo said he made a mistake. He shouldn't have said it. And he did. And do I think that the marriage should fall apart over that? Do I think that it should be like the biggest factor in their fighting and all the problems going on? I don't. And it's sad. They had this beautiful baby, Nico. She has such a bright future ahead of her. And I think that Guillermo's really wanting to find something he's passionate about to establish a solid career, not just for himself, but for the baby and Cara. And it's just sad. So kind of leaves you on this cliffhanger. They're not doing well. It's not looking promising for them. But again, another really solid episode. I think that as a fan of 90 Day, this whole series so far of Happily Ever After has been awesome. It's been not boring. I mean, sometimes you watch these episodes and you're like, well, what really happened? Nothing really. And so you just kind of feel bored. But no, this has been a really good season so far, and I'm really excited to keep watching with you guys. So tune in next week for episode 3. Ciao!